Imagine this. You're holding what looks like an ordinary penny. Worn edges, faded shine, something you'd almost give to a child for a candy machine. But what if I told you that very penny, the one you could have in your drawer right now, could be worth nearly $1 million? Yes, a single 1962 Lincoln penny with a small D mint mark from Denver has recently been valued at an astonishing $962,000. Suddenly, that little coin doesn't feel so small anymore, does it? Now here's the kicker. Most people have no idea. They toss these coins into jars, shove them in shoeboxes, or even let them fall between couch cushions. But while they're sleeping on treasure, smart collectors and investors are quietly cashing in. The truth is, this coin, this 1962 D Lincoln penny, is a silent millionaire maker. And if you own one, your financial life could change faster than you think. But before you get too excited, let's uncover why this coin has skyrocketed in value. The year 1962 was an intriguing moment in U.S. mint history. Over 1.7 billion pennies were minted in Denver alone. So you might ask, how could something so common be so rare today? Here's the secret. It isn't just about how many were made. It's about how many survived in pristine, almost perfect condition. Coins that escaped circulation, coins untouched by the wear and tear of time, are the true gems. And a flawless specimen with a high mint state grade can command prices that sound almost unbelievable. Think of it like vintage wine. Most bottles get opened and enjoyed, but the few that remain sealed, aging quietly, become priceless. Your penny works the same way. If it's been spared from scratches, fingerprints, and decades of use, you may be holding a fortune. But here's where it gets thrilling. Certain varieties and errors from the 1962 deminting run are far more valuable than the rest. Double die obverse, off-center strikes, even tiny anomalies invisible to the untrained eye. All of these can elevate an ordinary penny into the financial stratosphere. Imagine a coin dealer leaning over a microscope, squinting, and suddenly realizing you've got one of those ultra-rare error coins. That moment right there could be the spark that changes everything. Now let's pause. You might be thinking, wait, I've had jars of these pennies for years, maybe even boxes from my grandparents. What if I've been sitting on a jackpot this whole time? That question is exactly why you need to check. Because while most of these coins are worth 1 cent, a handful of them are commanding life-changing prices. Someone walks into a small-town pawn shop with a dusty cigar box. Inside, a stack of pennies. The owner takes a quick look, shrugs, and offers a couple of bucks. But then another collector notices one shining copper coin with a sharp D mint mark and immaculate luster. That penny later sells at auction for hundreds of thousands. That story isn't hypothetical, it happens. And it happens more often than you'd think. Now here's the urgency. The market for rare coins is heating up like never before. Collectors are paying record-breaking prices, and the demand for mint-condition 1962 D pennies is surging. Every year, fewer high-grade coins remain in private hands. Time isn't on your side. Each day you hesitate, someone else is turning their penny into a life-altering payday. And let's be honest, what would an extra $962,000 do for you? Would it be an early retirement, the dream house, sending your kids or grandkids to college debt-free? Or maybe just the pure relief of never worrying about bills again? This isn't about coins. It's about freedom. About the chance to live the life you've always pictured but didn't think was possible. Of course, you can't just walk into a bank and ask for $1 million check in exchange for your penny. You need the right channels. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC are the gatekeepers to true value. Without certification, your coin is just a hopeful guess. With certification, it becomes a verified treasure. That single step can make the difference between pocket change and generational wealth. And here's the part most people overlook. The story of your coin matters. Collectors don't just buy copper, they buy history. A 1962 penny isn't just metal. It's a time capsule from an era of American optimism, minted in the same year John F. Kennedy faced the Cuban Missile Crisis, the Beatles were just beginning their rise, and the American dream was alive and well. Owning one of these pennies is like holding a fragment of that history in your hand. Add a rare error or a flawless grade, and suddenly you're not just selling a coin, you're auctioning a piece of living history. But don't let fear creep in. the fear that you might miss this chance because you hesitated. That's the trap most people fall into. They watch others strike gold while their own coins sit untouched. Don't be that person. Because right now you have the knowledge, and knowledge in this case is power. So go check. Pull out those jars, those dusty boxes, those coins passed down from your parents or grandparents. Scrutinize them. Look closely at the mint mark. And if you find a 1962 penny with that small but mighty D, you might be staring at one of the rarest wealth opportunities of your life. And if you're thinking this all sounds too good to be true, remember, every major coin discovery started with someone who thought the same thing. The difference is they decided to look. Now, here's the cliffhanger. I've just shown you how the 1962 D penny can be worth nearly $1 million. But what if I told you there's another coin out there, even more ordinary looking, that's breaking records at auction right now? That's a story you don't want to miss. So if you're serious about uncovering hidden fortune in the coins you already own, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because the next coin I reveal could be sitting in your pocket at this very moment. And trust me, you'll want to know before someone else cashes in. Imagine holding a penny so ordinary that you almost throw it back into a coin jar. Yet that tiny coin could secretly hold the power to change your entire financial future. That's not a fantasy. It's real. Right now, one of the most unassuming coins in American history, the 1964 Lincoln penny without a mint mark, has surfaced in the collector's world, carrying a jaw-dropping value of up to $964,000. Yes, nearly $1 million for a coin worth 1 cent on its face. And here's the twist. This isn't just about a rare penny. It's about how moments of wealth can be hiding in plain sight, waiting for the person sharp enough or lucky enough to recognize them. Imagine the fear of realizing you once had one of these in your pocket and spent it on a pack of gum. Painful, isn't it? Now, let's dive into why the 1964 no-mint mark penny is causing such a stir. In 1964, over 2 billion pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and normally, coins from Philadelphia carried no mint mark. So at first glance, there's nothing unusual about that. But what sets this coin apart is the condition, the metal composition, and the elusive varieties linked to minting errors. The right combination of these elements can launch a penny from pocket change into the stratosphere of million-dollar collectibles. Collectors obsess over sharp details, untouched surfaces, and that brilliant red luster pennies can hold when preserved perfectly. Imagine a coin sitting untouched in a drawer for 60 years, avoiding the everyday scratches of circulation. That's the kind of miracle that transforms a coin from ordinary to legendary. And when you add impossible doubling on the lettering or even subtle minting flaws, suddenly you're holding something so unique that collectors will fight tooth and nail to own it. But here's where it gets exciting and a little scary. Most people walk right past these opportunities. They glance at their spare change, assume it's worthless, and let fortune slip through their fingers. How many times have you emptied your pockets, tossed pennies into a dish, or given them away without even a second thought? What if, hidden in that pile, sits the very coin we're talking about right now? Picture this. Someone just like you finds an old jar of coins in the attic. Dusty, forgotten, filled with memories. They start flipping through, not expecting much. Suddenly, there it is, the date 1964, no mint mark, glowing with an unusual shine. What seemed like clutter in the corner of the room has just transformed into a six-figure windfall. In that instant, their financial story changes forever. And the truth is, it could just as easily happen to you. Now, let's not sugarcoat it. The odds are slim, and most 1964 pennies are worth only face value. But here's where the urgency comes in. Those slim odds are still real. People have already walked away with fortunes from pennies no one thought twice about. Every year, more collectors with deep pockets enter the market, driving up demand and pushing values higher. The market for rare coins is hotter than ever, and it rewards the curious, the diligent, and those willing to take a second look. Think of it this way. You wouldn't walk past a lottery ticket lying on the ground without checking it, right? So why would you ignore the coins sitting right under your nose, knowing one could be worth nearly $1 million? And here's a little humor to cut the tension. I know some of you are already picturing yourself raiding your couch cushions tonight. Good news, you absolutely should. Wealth isn't always found in Wall Street portfolios. Sometimes, it jingles quietly in your pocket. The beauty of coin collecting and investing is that it's one of the few areas where ordinary people can stumble upon extraordinary opportunities. You don't need a broker. You don't need $1 million in the bank. You need awareness, patience, and a little courage to believe that treasures still exist in everyday life as you listen to this. Remember that time doesn't wait. The longer you hesitate to check, the greater the chance someone else cashes in while you sit wondering. Every day another coin disappears into a private collection, and once it's locked away, that opportunity is gone for good. So here's the cliffhanger that will keep you thinking long after this video ends. Somewhere in America, right now, a 1964 no-mint mark penny lies unnoticed. In a coffee can, a shoebox, a desk drawer. Will it be discovered by someone else? Or will it be you who uncovers that once-in-a-lifetime fortune? The answer depends on what you do next. If you're serious about uncovering wealth where others see only pennies, start looking. And if you want more secrets on how to spot coins worth life-changing money, make sure you subscribe and join me here again. Because every coin has a story, and the next one could be the key to your wealthy future. Imagine reaching into an old jar of pennies, the kind that's been sitting in the back of a drawer for decades, and pulling out a single coin so ordinary that most people wouldn't look at it twice. But in reality, it could be worth nearly $1 million. That's the hidden truth about the 1967 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, an everyday coin with the power to change a life forever. And yes, today's market has seen examples soar as high as $967,000. Why would anyone pay that much for a penny? That's the question that's kept collectors up at night, and the answer lies in a perfect storm of history, rarity, and human desire. In 1967, the U.S. Mint was under pressure. The nation had been going through a coin shortage, people were hoarding silver coins, and the mint temporarily suspended mint marks altogether. That's why every 1967 penny you find will show no mint mark at all. But within that massive production, some coins stand out, not because of what's on them, but because of how pristine, how flawless, how rare they are in high grades. And it's those elite survivors that turn into 6- and 7-figure treasures. Now here's the part most people miss. Almost every one of these pennies went straight into circulation. Think of lunch counters, vending machines, kids dropping them into piggy banks. They were never meant to be saved, which means the tiny number of examples that remain untouched, untarnished, and gleaming in mint state perfection are as rare as a lightning strike on a clear day. And when collectors fight over that rarity, prices climb into the stratosphere. A coin that cost 1 cent in 1967 could now buy you a lakefront house, a new luxury car, and still leave enough left over to pad your retirement. That's why stories about these coins grab headlines and make ordinary people dream. And isn't that the real thrill? The idea that hidden inside the most common object in your pocket is the key to unimaginable wealth. Of course, here's where the fear creeps in. How many of us have already let one slip through our fingers without even realizing it? How many times have we spent a penny, dismissed a coin, tossed it into a change jar, when in reality it could have been the jackpot we never knew we had? That thought alone is enough to make you start checking every coin in sight. But don't think it's impossible. Collectors and everyday people still find these gems in rolls from the bank, in old inherited jars, or even tucked inside forgotten boxes in attics. It only takes one. The key is knowing what to look for. A 1967 penny without a mint mark, with no signs of wear, no scratches, perfectly centered lettering, and that bright luster that seems to glow. In the world of coin grading, it needs to score at the very top, mint state 67, 68, or even higher. Those grades are what unlock the fortune. Anything less? Still valuable, still collectible, but it won't hit the $1 million mark. And here's the exciting twist. Because millions were made, people assume the coin is worthless. That assumption is your opportunity. It's like walking past a lottery ticket on the sidewalk because the odds look too slim. But someone always wins. The collectors who understand this, who know how to spot the right penny, end up the ones telling stories about how a simple copper coin changed their financial future. You might be wondering, why is the market so intense right now? Part of it is nostalgia. Baby boomers and Gen X collectors are reaching the stage of life where they want to own the coins they grew up with, but in the best condition possible. And when supply is tiny but demand is overwhelming, well, You already know what happens to prices. So what should you do? Start by looking at what you already have. That jar of pennies in the garage? That old change box your parents kept? It's not just spare change. It's a treasure chest waiting to be opened. Next, learn how to recognize condition. Even a minor difference in quality can mean the gap between a penny worth a few dollars and one that can change your life. And if you think you've found something special, don't spend it, don't clean it, and don't toss it back into circulation. Have it evaluated, graded, and protected. But here's the cliffhanger most people don't realize. The market for these coins is heating up faster than ever before. What's worth $967,000 today could cross the $1 million mark tomorrow. And if history has taught us anything, it's that once collectors drive values this high, they rarely ever fall back down. So the real question is this. Will you be the one who spots the fortune in plain sight, or will someone else find it in the change you overlooked? Every time you hold a penny in your hand, you're holding a possibility. One that could lead to financial freedom, to a new chapter, to the life you've dreamed of. If you want to stay ahead of the curve, keep learning, keep checking, and keep chasing these hidden treasures. Because the next great story of wealth and discovery isn't written yet, and it might just have your name on it. And if you're ready to uncover more secrets about coins worth money, subscribe now. Don't miss the next opportunity that could be sitting right in your pocket. After all, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is just one coin. Imagine holding a penny so ordinary in appearance that you'd almost let it slip through your fingers at the checkout counter. But what if I told you that one simple 1968 Lincoln penny without a mint mark could change the rest of your life? Right now, collectors are paying up to $968,000 for a single coin that most people mistake for pocket change. This isn't just about money. It's about the hidden treasures that pass through our hands every day. A single coin tucked away in a drawer, forgotten in a jar, or handed back as loose change at the gas station could hold the kind of value that transforms ordinary people into millionaires overnight. Sounds unbelievable, right? That's what makes it so powerful. Now, before we dive into the why and how, let's clear one thing up. Not every 1968 penny is going to make you rich. And that's where most people get it wrong. They hear the story of one coin selling for hundreds of thousands and think every old cent is a lottery ticket. But here's the truth. Rarity and condition are everything. That's why understanding the signs, the details, and the secrets behind these coins is the difference between tossing away a fortune and holding onto it for dear life. So why does the 1968 no mint mark penny stand out? During that year, pennies were struck at different mints, and most bear either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But the no mint mark pennies? They were produced in Philadelphia. And a tiny percentage of them were struck so sharply, so perfectly, that decades later they stand as rare masterpieces of American coinage. Combine this rarity with the passion of wealthy collectors, and suddenly you have a coin that commands nearly $1 million on the open market. Think about that for a moment. You could be staring at a penny right now worth more than your house, more than your retirement fund, more than some people will earn in an entire lifetime. Scary? Exciting? Maybe both. Now, how do you know if your coin could be one of these treasures? Start with the basics. Flip it over and look closely at the details. The edges should be crisp, Lincoln's profile should show every curve, every line, and the fields, the flat areas around him, should look like glass. If your coin shows very little wear, you may already be holding something extraordinary. And if you think this sounds like too much effort, just ask yourself, how long would you be willing to stare at a penny if it could be worth nearly $1 million? Of course, there's another factor, grade. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC are the gatekeepers of value. A penny in average condition may be worth a few bucks, but a penny certified in top condition? That's where 6 and 7 figures enter the picture. And here's a chilling thought. Thousands of people may have spent these rare coins without ever knowing. Can you imagine being the person who gave away a fortune for a stick of gum? And that's exactly why urgency matters. Every day that passes, more of these coins are lost, damaged, or destroyed. The pool gets smaller and the value rises higher. Collectors aren't just buying coins. They're buying history, rarity, and the thrill of owning something that no one else can easily find. That hunger drives the price skyward. But let me warn you, this world is full of fakes and illusions. Shady sellers will polish up an ordinary penny, slap on a dramatic description, and hope someone falls for the trick. Don't let that be you. Knowledge is your shield, and patience is your weapon. Get your coins authenticated. Protect them. And only then will you know if you're sitting on a life-changing treasure. Now here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. A genuine 1968 no-mint mark penny in pristine condition recently shocked the market with a staggering sale that made headlines in the numismatic world. Was it closer to $1 million? Or did it soar beyond? The answer proves one thing. Opportunity isn't knocking, it's pounding on the door. And only those who pay attention will open it. So what should you do right now? Start searching. Dig into your coin jars, the shoeboxes in your closet, even that coffee can in the garage. Your wealth might already be sitting there waiting, because the dream of financial freedom doesn't always come from Wall Street or lottery tickets. It can come from something as humble as a penny. If you're serious about living a life of abundance, if you're ready to stop leaving fortunes behind in the checkout line, then stay with this journey. Because the next coin we explore might just be the key that unlocks your own millionaire story. And when that day comes, you won't just look at pennies the same way. You'll never look at money the same way again. Make sure you subscribe and join me for more discoveries, because every week we uncover another secret hiding in plain sight. The treasure is real. The time is now, and the next fortune could already be in your hands. Imagine pulling out an old coin from your pocket, tossing it on the table, and realizing it's not just a penny. It's a life-changing fortune. The kind of fortune that could wipe out debt, buy a dream home, or fund generations to come. Sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you the 1969 D Lincoln penny, a coin most people overlook, has been known to be worth up to millions of dollars, with a current market value reaching an astonishing $969,000. This is not folklore. This is real. And tonight, we're diving into the story of how one small cent could unlock the wealth you've been waiting for. The truth is, most people never take a second glance at their change. They think, it's just a penny. But history has a funny way of turning the ordinary into the extraordinary. The 1969 D Lincoln penny is proof of that. Born in an era of economic turbulence, political change, and cultural shifts, this coin carries far more than copper and zinc. It carries a hidden story of rarity, survival, and immense value. And here's where things get thrilling. Not every 1969 penny is special, but a few bear minting quirks so rare that collectors are willing to throw down sums that rival luxury real estate. Now, you might be asking, what makes this coin so valuable? After all, billions of Lincoln pennies were struck. Here's the secret. In 1969, the Denver Mint produced pennies with subtle variations and, in some cases, double dies errors that transform a simple cent into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. These double dies can reveal themselves in the lettering, especially the date and inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust. They're easy to miss if you're not looking closely, but to a trained eye, they're like finding a diamond in the rough. And diamonds, as you know, can change lives. Think about it. How many times have you tossed coins into a jar, forgotten about them, or even given them to your kids to feed into a vending machine? What if, in doing so, you unknowingly gave away a coin worth nearly $1 million? That's not just a missed opportunity. It's a haunting thought. And it's why collectors across the country have become almost obsessed with combing through their change, hunting for that one elusive penny. Here's where it gets even more fascinating. The 1969 D penny isn't valuable just because of error varieties. Condition matters too. Coins graded in top mint state condition, especially those preserved in brilliant uncirculated form, command astronomical prices. Imagine holding a 50-year-old penny that still shines as if it just left the mint press. Collectors will bid against each other relentlessly, each one desperate to add that rare gem to their portfolio. That desperation drives the price higher and higher, turning your humble penny into a six-figure payday, of course. Not every coin reaches the dizzying heights of $969,000. Many sell for smaller but still significant amounts, tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands. But isn't that enough to make your heart skip a beat when you realize that forgotten coffee can full of pennies in the attic could be worth more than your car? It's almost absurd to think about. And yet, it's happening every single day to people who were smart enough or lucky enough to look. But here's the catch. Time is not on your side. The market for rare coins is booming right now, and values fluctuate. Collectors are willing to pay incredible sums, but only while demand is hot. Wait too long and you risk missing the wave. It's like sitting on a winning lottery ticket and forgetting to cash it in. What good is treasure if you never claim it? So the question becomes, how do you find out if you're sitting on one of these treasures? Step 1. Check your 1969 pennies, especially those with a D mint mark. Look closely at the lettering. Use a magnifying glass if you need to. Step 2. If you think you've spotted something unusual, don't dismiss it. Get the coin authenticated and graded by a professional service. Without certification, that penny is just pocket change. With it, it could become a ticket to financial freedom. And here's a little twist that might make you smile. Imagine being the person who buys a soda with a rare penny, only to realize later you just gave away nearly $1 million for a can of fizz. Painful, isn't it? That's why coin collectors like to joke. Always check your change, or it might change your life in the wrong direction. The beauty of this journey isn't just the money, though. It's the empowerment. It's realizing that wealth isn't always locked in bank accounts or stock markets. Sometimes, it's sitting quietly in a drawer, waiting for someone curious enough to discover it. That sense of possibility, the idea that your next coin could be the one, that's what fuels collectors, treasure hunters, and ordinary people just like you. So what would you do if you found a 1969 D Lincoln penny worth nearly $1 million? Would you sell it and live debt-free? Invest it and build generational wealth? Or frame it on your wall as the smallest, most powerful reminder that fortune favors the observant? Whatever your answer, know this. The opportunity is real, and it's closer than you think. Don't wait until it's too late. Start looking, start learning, and start believing that your financial breakthrough could come in the smallest, most unexpected form. A penny. Because sometimes, it's the things we ignore that hold the keys to everything we've been searching for. And if you want to keep unlocking secrets of coins worth thousands, even millions, make sure to subscribe and join us on this journey. Because the next coin we reveal might just be sitting in your pocket right now. Imagine holding a penny so ordinary that you almost toss it into the nearest change jar, not realizing it could be worth nearly $1 million. That penny might be sitting right in your dresser drawer, forgotten in an old coffee can, or even rolling around under your car seat. The 1970 D Lincoln penny, with a tiny mint mark most people overlook, has been shocking collectors and casual owners alike, with values climbing into the hundreds of thousands, and in some cases, crossing the threshold of $970,000. The real question is, do you have one? And if you do, would you even recognize it? Not every 1970 D penny is valuable. In fact, billions were minted, and most of them are worth exactly what you think, 1 cent. But here's where it gets exciting. A few rare variations, struck with errors so subtle they're invisible to the untrained eye, have turned these coins into legendary treasures. Collectors crave them, investors chase them, and ordinary people, just like you, have stumbled upon them without warning. Imagine the fear of accidentally spending one at the grocery store. Gone forever, just like that. Rarity. Certain coins were struck with double dies, meaning the details, like the date and the word, show ghostly doubling. It's faint, easy to miss, but undeniable once you know what to look for. Other versions have striking anomalies from the minting process, creating an instant ticket into numismatic history. And because rarity is the ultimate currency in the coin world, the right 1970 D penny can transform from pocket change to a fortune almost overnight. Think about this. One specimen recently commanded a market value of around $970,000. That's nearly $1 million for a single copper coin you could mistake for a throwaway. Doesn't that make you want to dig through every coin you've ever handled? The thought alone has collectors losing sleep. After all, if one ordinary penny can unlock a wealthy lifestyle, why wouldn't you want to check? But here's where it gets personal. The people who strike gold, or in this case copper, aren't always lifelong collectors. Some are retirees who rediscovered old jars of coins while downsizing. Others are everyday workers who got change at a gas station and happened to look closely. These aren't stories about Wall Street investors or hedge funds. They're stories about families just like yours, finding unexpected wealth in the most humble of places. That's why this coin matters. It represents opportunity hiding in plain sight. Of course, opportunity without knowledge slips right through your fingers. How do you avoid missing out? The key is understanding exactly what to look for. The date on the coin should read 1970 with the tiny D mint mark just below. Examine it carefully under good light. Are the letters slightly doubled? Do the numbers look shadowed or thicker than normal? If so, your heart might start pounding, because you may have stumbled onto something extraordinary. And if you think you've found a candidate, don't rush off to cash it in. Get it authenticated, graded, and appraised by professionals, because one tiny mistake could cost you hundreds of thousands. Here's the kicker. The value of rare coins doesn't just sit still, it grows. The market is hungry for iconic pieces, and as supply tightens, demand surges. That $970,000 valuation? Tomorrow it could be higher. Waiting could mean more money, but it could also mean losing your shot. Timing is everything, and the clock is ticking on opportunities like these. Now let me ask you, how many pennies have you handled in your lifetime? Thousands? Maybe tens of thousands? What if just one of them was the key to a better future? Would you shrug it off? Or would you take a second look? This isn't just about collecting. It's about being alert to hidden opportunities that others ignore. Wealth doesn't always come from the obvious. Sometimes it hides in the smallest corners of life, daring you to notice. Here's where the fear creeps in. Most people will never realize what they've thrown away. Pennies get lost, spilled, or forgotten every single day. And among them may be coins worth life-changing amounts. The idea that you could unknowingly spend a small fortune on a pack of gum is terrifying, isn't it? Yet it happens more often than you'd think. That's the danger of not paying attention. But there's also excitement, because the opposite is just as true. At any moment, you could stumble across the jackpot. Could happen in your change tomorrow, or while helping your kids count coins for a school project. Could happen when you least expect it, and that's the thrill. Rare coins are like hidden lottery tickets scattered through everyday life, waiting for the right person to recognize them. So what now? The first step is simple. Go through your pennies. Every jar, every box, every forgotten stash tucked in a drawer. Treat each one like it could be the beginning of a new chapter in your financial story. And don't stop there. Learn, study, sharpen your eye. The more you know, the more likely you are to spot the treasure when it crosses your path. And if you've been searching for ways to gain wealth, to build security, and to create the lifestyle you've always wanted, remember this. Opportunity rarely knocks loudly. Sometimes it whispers through copper and dates and tiny mint marks. But if you're paying attention, it could change everything. Because the 1970 D penny is more than a coin. It's a reminder that wealth can appear where you least expect it, and that sometimes, the smallest things carry the biggest rewards. Don't miss your chance to discover what could be waiting in your own pocket change. And if you want more insights, strategies, and secrets about coins worth life-changing amounts, subscribe now. Your journey to wealth might just start with a penny. Imagine holding a single penny, a coin so ordinary you might have passed it across a counter 1,000 times without a second thought. But what if I told you that in 1972, the U.S. Mint released a version of the Lincoln cent that today can be worth nearly $1 million? A penny that could transform an old coin jar in your kitchen into the foundation of a wealthy new life. That's not a fantasy. It's reality. And tonight, you're going to discover how a small copper coin with no mint mark could be worth up to $972,000. The story begins in 1972, in Philadelphia. The Mint was working overtime, pressing out hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents. Mistakes were inevitable, and in one rare, almost mythical accident, a die was struck in such a way that Abraham Lincoln's profile and the lettering doubled. The 1972 doubled die penny was born. Most people never noticed. They shoved these coins into piggy banks, purses, and vending machines. But a handful survived, and decades later, collectors hunt them like buried treasure. Now here's where it gets exciting, and maybe even a little frightening. Because the difference between an ordinary 1972 penny and a life-changing 1972 double die penny is almost invisible unless you know exactly what to look for. Imagine tossing away nearly $1,000,000 just because you didn't recognize the secret hidden in your change. That's why the first step to unlocking the value of these coins is awareness. So what should you be looking for? On a genuine 1972 double die, the date and lettering are doubled in a dramatic way. Look closely at Liberty and In God We Trust. The letters appear thick, as if two ghostly shadows are stacked on top of each other. It's not just a trick of the eye. It's a minting error etched forever into the copper. Spot that, and you may be holding a coin with the power to rewrite your financial future. Now, here's the part that makes collectors' hearts race. While lower-grade examples can sell for a few hundred to a few $1,000s, pristine, uncirculated versions, coins that escaped the wear of circulation, have reached jaw-dropping heights. The current market value for a top-tier specimen is nearly $972,000. 1 penny, 1 cent worth almost $1,000,000. Think about that for a moment. How many times have you ignored a coin on the ground, telling yourself it wasn't worth the trouble to pick it up? And yet, these coins don't announce themselves with flashing lights or golden glows. They look like every other penny, until you tilt them under the light and notice the truth. That's the thrill, isn't it? The idea that unimaginable wealth could be hiding in the most ordinary corner of your life. But don't make the mistake of assuming only experts can find these treasures. Everyday people, just like you, have discovered rare coins in their jars of spare change, in collections inherited from parents or grandparents, even tucked away in old coffee cans. The question is, will you be the one to notice, or will you let fortune pass by? Now, some of you might be thinking, come on, how often does this actually happen? Here's the answer: not often. And that's exactly why the price is so high. Scarcity drives value. In the world of coins, rarity is king. Out of the hundreds of millions of pennies minted in 1972, only a tiny fraction display this error. And each year, as collectors scoop them up and lock them away, the number in circulation dwindles even further. The clock is ticking. The opportunity is shrinking. And let's be honest, how many times in life do you get a chance like this? Most people spend their lives chasing wealth in complicated ways, through risky investments or endless overtime. But here, wealth is literally sitting in the palm of your hand, waiting for someone with the eyes and patience to recognize it. Doesn't it feel almost unfair that something so small could be worth so much? Of course, this is where things get tricky, because once you do find a 1972 double die penny, the next step matters just as much as the discovery itself. Grading and authentication are critical. A professional grading service can confirm whether your coin is genuine, and they'll assign it a grade that dramatically impacts its value. An uncirculated, mint-state example could be the difference between a nice dinner out and the down payment on a dream home. So imagine this with me. You're sitting at your kitchen table. You pour out a jar of pennies you haven't looked at in years. Your fingers brush across the copper coins, and suddenly, you see it. The doubling in the lettering. Your heart skips. Is this it? Could this be the one? You rush to check under better light, your hands trembling slightly, because in that moment your life could change. And yet, here's the twist. For every person who discovers a rare penny, there are thousands who missed it. People who tossed these treasures back into circulation, who spent a fortune without ever realizing it. That's the fear that should keep you watching closely, because the last thing you want is to be the person who let $1,000,000 penny slip through your fingers. So let me ask you this. Will you take the time tonight to check your change? Will you dig through those old coin rolls in the drawer? Or will you wait, letting opportunity pass, while someone else finds the fortune you overlooked? The 1972 no-mint mark double die Lincoln penny is more than just a coin. It's a reminder that wealth hides in unexpected places. It's a call to action, to pay attention, to stay curious, to never dismiss the small things. Because sometimes, the smallest things carry the greatest power. And if you've ever dreamed of living a wealthier lifestyle, of breaking free from financial worry, of turning something ordinary into something extraordinary, this is your chance. It starts with one coin, one discovery, one moment of awareness. So before you go, make a commitment to yourself. Search, Look closely. Share this knowledge with family and friends, because you never know who might be sitting on a hidden fortune, waiting to be uncovered. And if you want to keep learning the secrets of coins that could change your life, subscribe now. Don't just watch wealth pass by. Claim it. The next story I tell might be the one that leads you to your own $1 million treasure. Imagine holding a coin so ordinary in appearance that you'd toss it into a change jar without a second thought. Now imagine that same coin being worth nearly $1 million. That's the story of the 1973 Lincoln penny with the Denver Mint mark. It looks like the same brownish red cent you've seen all your life, but in the world of collectors, it can unlock a fortune. Up to $973,000 in today's market. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, the kind hiding in your kitchen drawer right now, could rewrite your financial future. The truth is, coins like this are hiding in plain sight. People assume wealth only comes from big investments, real estate, or decades of savings. But sometimes it comes from recognizing treasure disguised as pocket change. And here's the twist. Most people will overlook it. They'll spend it without a second glance, and someone else will cash in. Which side of that story do you want to be on? Let's rewind to 1973. The United States Mint in Denver was producing billions of pennies, billions. Copper coins that would feel like nothing more than spare change to the average person. But here's the catch. Within that massive run, a small number of coins were struck with exceptional qualities, pristine finishes, or minting errors so rare that decades later, they've become the stuff of numismatic legend. These are the pennies collectors will fight tooth and nail for. These are the pennies worth life-changing money. Now you may be wondering, why this coin? Why 1973 and why Denver? Here's where it gets fascinating. The D-Mint mark coins of that year carry certain anomalies, off-center strikes, double dies, and extremely high-grade conditions that survived without scratches. These aren't your everyday pocket pieces. They are virtually time capsules, coins that somehow slipped through the chaos of circulation without a blemish. Imagine keeping a paper receipt pristine for 50 years. It sounds impossible, right? That's exactly why these flawless pennies are so rare. And rarity is the golden rule of value. Collectors aren't just buying metal. They're buying stories. They're buying history. They're buying a piece of Americana that reminds them of the past, of childhood, of the first coin they ever saved. Combine that emotional connection with scarcity, and suddenly a 1-cent coin demands hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. You might laugh, who spends a fortune on a penny? But then again, who spends millions on a painting that could fit in a closet? Wealthy collectors do, and they pay big because they can. Here's where the urgency kicks in. Coins like this don't sit around forever. Every time one surfaces, competition spikes, prices soar, and the opportunities shrink. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If you're not looking for them, you'll never find one. How many pennies have passed through your hands in your lifetime? Hundreds of thousands, maybe millions. What if even one of those was worth nearly $1 million, and you let it slip through without knowing? That thought alone keeps collectors up at night. So how do you spot the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth a luxury home? First, condition matters above all. A 1973 D penny in average circulated condition may only be worth face value. But in mint state, with glossy surfaces and sharp detail, the price skyrockets. Next, you'll want to check for errors, double-die obverse varieties where lettering looks doubled, off-center strikes that make the coin appear crooked, or even rare planchet mistakes where the coin was struck on the wrong metal. These small details can mean the difference between pocket change and life-changing money. Of course, you're probably thinking, who has the time to look at every single penny? Here's the surprising answer: people who became wealthy doing it. Every millionaire in this hobby started with curiosity, patience, and the belief that luck favors those who pay attention. It's not about checking every single coin. It's about knowing what to look for and training your eyes to spot it. Like playing the lottery, except this time you're holding the tickets in your hands every single day. Let me share a quick story. A collector once bought a roll of pennies from the bank, just a standard roll worth 50 cents. Inside, he discovered a nearly flawless 1973 D penny that later sold for tens of thousands of dollars. What if he hadn't looked? What if he'd spent it on a soda and never given it a second thought? That's the thin line between ordinary and extraordinary. And here's the secret nobody tells you. Stories like this happen far more often than you'd think. Now here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. You're probably asking yourself, is it possible that you already own one of these million-dollar pennies? Could it be sitting in a box of coins you inherited from a parent, or a forgotten jar tucked away in the garage? The only way to know for sure is to look. And the longer you wait, the greater the chance someone else discovers their fortune before you do. So don't let hesitation rob you of opportunity. The 1973 D. Lincoln penny may look like every other coin in your pocket, but for those who dare to search, it represents freedom, security, and a new chapter in life. Check your change, explore your old coin jars, and take this seriously. The next time you hold a penny, remember, it could be the most valuable thing you've ever touched. If you found this eye-opening, subscribe now for more insights on coins that could transform your financial future. Because wealth doesn't always come from where you expect. Sometimes it starts with a single cent. Imagine holding a single penny that could change your life forever. Not just any penny, but a small copper coin hiding in plain sight, sitting at the bottom of an old jar, waiting to reveal its true worth. Today, we're uncovering the astonishing story of the 1977 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin that could be worth as much as $977,000 in today's market, with some rarities fetching millions. And the real question is this: could you already own one without even realizing it? Most people glance at a penny and see nothing more than 1 cent. A useless coin, tossed aside, left in couches and glove compartments. But the truth is, coins like the 1977 penny are quietly rewriting financial destinies. Imagine finding one in a family heirloom box or buried in the back of a dresser drawer. A single discovery could turn into the down payment on a dream house, a debt-free future, or the freedom to finally walk away from a job you no longer love. All because you paid attention when others looked away. To understand why this coin is so special, you need to look closely at history. In 1977, the U.S. Mint produced millions of pennies. Most of them carried the expected quality and design. But within those millions, a handful emerged with subtle differences. No mint mark. Tiny variations that most people missed, but collectors today would pay a fortune to own. It's not just about copper and zinc. It's about rarity, demand, and the thrill of chasing something almost no one else has. Now here's the twist that will make you check every coin in your pocket. Not all 1977 pennies are valuable. The key is condition, detail, and scarcity. A worn penny may only be worth face value, but a pristine coin, especially one without that tiny mint mark, can command eye-watering sums at auctions. We're talking about life-changing money, hidden in something you probably walked past at the grocery store checkout line. Doesn't that make you wonder how many treasures we casually throw away every day? The current market value for one of these rare gems sits at an astonishing $977,000. And with the way collectors compete, the right auction could push it even higher, into the millions. Think about that for a moment. How many hours, years, or even decades would you have to work to save that much? Yet one coin, smaller than your thumb, could deliver the same reward instantly. But here's the part most people don't realize. The window of opportunity won't stay open forever. As more collectors snatch up these coins, as more disappear into private collections, the chances of finding one in the wild shrink dramatically. That's why waiting is dangerous. That's why the time to check your change jar, your old albums, and even your grandparents' forgotten boxes is right now. Do you really want to discover that you had one of these coins only after it's too late? Let's make this personal. Imagine handing a coin to a cashier today without realizing it was worth nearly $1 million. That moment of carelessness could erase your shot at financial freedom. The thought alone should make you want to examine every penny before you spend it. And while it sounds unbelievable, stories of people spending rare coins without knowing their value are everywhere. Would you let that happen to you? The beauty of the 1977 penny is that it's still out there. People are finding them, collectors are chasing them, and auctions are breaking records. You don't need luck. You need awareness, persistence, and the courage to look a little closer than everyone else. Because wealth isn't always built through big investments or risky ventures. Sometimes, It's hiding in the smallest details, waiting for the person wise enough to recognize it. So here's your challenge. Before the day ends, dig through your jars, drawers, and boxes. Look for that 1977 penny. Study it carefully. Ask yourself, could this be the coin that changes everything for me? Don't assume someone else will find it first. Don't assume it's too late. The people who live wealthier lives aren't necessarily the ones with better luck. They're the ones who act before opportunity slips away. And if this story has sparked even a flicker of excitement in you, if it made you glance toward that pile of coins you've been ignoring, then don't let this journey stop here. Subscribe now because we're just getting started. There are more coins out there, each with secrets powerful enough to alter your future. And the next one we reveal might be sitting in your pocket right this very moment. Imagine holding a simple penny in your hand. Something so ordinary, so overlooked, that most people would toss it into a jar without a second thought. Now imagine that same coin being the key to nearly $1 million. Sounds impossible, right? But tonight, we're diving into the story of the 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, an unassuming little coin that has shocked collectors, stunned appraisers, and is now commanding prices that push close to $1 million in today's market. If you think your pocket change can't change your life, think again. Before we unravel why this coin is worth so much, let's take a step back. The year was 1978. Gas was cheap, the dollar was strong, and millions of pennies rolled off the presses at the Philadelphia Mint. Most were ordinary, mass-produced, and destined to live short lives rattling around in pockets. But here's the twist. Among these millions, a tiny handful carried striking errors and conditions so rare that they've become legendary in the coin-collecting world. And it's these scarce survivors that today fetch staggering prices. The real kicker? Philadelphia pennies from this era carried no mint mark at all. That's not unusual in itself. Philadelphia coins typically didn't show one, but what makes 1978 stand out are the extraordinary variations in strike, die quality, and preservation. A few flawless specimens, untouched by circulation, now live in protective holders, whispered about like buried treasure. One such penny has reached a jaw-dropping current market value of $978,000. Think about that for a second. A penny, literally 1 cent, transforming into a down payment on a mansion, a lifetime of luxury vacations, or the nest egg you've always dreamed of. Suddenly, the change in your drawer doesn't look so boring anymore, does it? Now, here's where it gets thrilling. Not all 1978 pennies are valuable. The vast majority are worth exactly 1 cent. So what separates the penny that could make you rich from the one you'd casually hand over for a stick of gum? The answer lies in condition and rarity. Collectors and investors hunt for pristine, uncirculated specimens graded at the very highest levels, often MS-67 or MS-68. These coins are so sharp, so flawless, that they almost glow under the light. And when a coin like this surfaces at auction, the bidding wars ignite. But here's a little fear to keep you on your toes. How many of these treasures have slipped through fingers, spent unknowingly at convenience stores, or tossed into change machines? The truth is chilling. Some of the world's most valuable coins were once sitting unnoticed in piggy banks. Could yours be one of them? Of course, it's not just about finding a shiny penny. Sharp-eyed collectors look for subtle errors too, striking anomalies, doubling in the design, or even off-center cuts that make the coin unique. Sometimes, the smallest imperfection creates the biggest payday. And the 1978 penny series has delivered more than a few surprises in this department. Someone cashes in a jar of pennies at a bank. The teller shrugs, counts them, and passes them along. Among them, a flawless 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny worth nearly $1 million. The idea that life-changing wealth can be hidden in plain sight is both exhilarating and terrifying. It makes you wonder, how many opportunities have passed us by simply because we didn't look closely enough? And here's where things get personal. Maybe you've got a coffee can full of coins in your garage. Maybe your parents saved change for decades. Or maybe you've been walking past treasures without knowing it. What if that tiny copper coin hiding in your collection is the key to rewriting your financial story? Wouldn't you want to know before it slips away forever? It's a question of awareness, patience, and timing. The coin market is hotter than ever, with investors treating rare pennies as tangible assets, physical wealth you can hold in your hand. And in uncertain times, when markets fluctuate and headlines shake confidence, a rare coin becomes not just a collector's prize, but a fortress of value. That's why the 1978 penny isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of hidden opportunity. Now, before we reach the end, let's consider the urgency. Coins like this don't surface every day. When they do, they set records and then vanish into private collections, sometimes for decades. If you wait, you could miss the wave forever. Imagine knowing you could have checked, but you didn't, and someone else found the fortune instead. That sting of regret is exactly what smart collectors avoid. So here's your call to action. Tonight, tomorrow, as soon as you can, dig through your coins. Pull out every 1978 penny you can find. Study them. Check their condition. If you see a flawless, uncirculated specimen, or even something unusual, get it appraised. Because you never know. One coin could mean the difference between simply surviving and living the wealthy lifestyle you've always dreamed of. And if you want to uncover more of these hidden treasures, this is the moment to take action. Subscribe and join this journey, because every week we explore coins that could be your ticket to financial freedom. Your fortune may already be in your pocket, you just have to look for it. Imagine holding a penny in your hand that could change your entire life. A coin so ordinary in appearance, yet so rare in reality, that it could be worth nearly $1 million today. The 1979 Lincoln penny with the Denver mint mark is one of those rare treasures hiding in plain sight. Most people let it slip through their fingers every single day. But what if you discovered one in your pocket or buried in an old jar of change in your closet? Would you even recognize it? Or would you unknowingly give away a fortune for just 1 cent? That's the fascinating truth about rare coins. They don't shout for attention, they whisper. And unless you know what to look for, you'll miss the whisper and miss the opportunity. The 1979 D-penny is more than just copper and zinc. In certain conditions and with certain errors, it has been valued as high as $979,000 in today's market. That's not a typo. That's the kind of number that can erase debt, buy your dream home, or give you the freedom you've been waiting for your whole life. But the real question is, how do you know if the penny you're holding could be one of those life-changing coins? You see, not every 1979 D-penny is worth a fortune. Most are worth face value. But collectors and investors alike are willing to pay extraordinary sums for specific variations, those with pristine mint state conditions or dramatic minting errors. Imagine a double die strike where Lincoln's profile seems almost ghostly, or a misaligned mint mark that makes the coin stand out as a rare anomaly. Those tiny imperfections that the U.S. Mint never intended are the very details that can skyrocket a penny's value into the hundreds of thousands. It's like finding beauty in a mistake, except in this case, the mistake could fund your retirement. But here's the part that makes people's stomachs drop. Millions of these pennies were minted in 1979. They circulated everywhere: grocery stores, banks, your parents' change jars. And because they seem so common, countless valuable specimens have been spent, lost, or simply ignored. Think about how many times someone probably bought a cup of coffee with a penny that could have made them a millionaire. That little sting of regret you're feeling? That's why collectors study and act quickly. Because once these rare coins are gone, they're gone for good. Now, here's the exciting part. You don't need a vault or a magnifying glass worth thousands of dollars to get started. Start small. Pull out the jars of coins collecting dust in your home. Dig into your old drawers and yes, even check that coin tray in your car. Many people laugh at the idea of finding treasure in their spare change. But those who laugh usually aren't the ones cashing in. The ones who take action are. Isn't it funny how opportunities are always disguised as ordinary objects? Collectors crave the 1979 D because it bridges an era of American coinage when composition changed from mostly copper to more zinc. That transition alone makes it a point of fascination. But combine that historical significance with the possibility of minting flaws, and suddenly you have the perfect storm for astronomical valuations. And let's be honest, who doesn't like the idea of turning a penny into a house? But don't let excitement blind you. If you stumble upon a 1979 D penny in great condition, do not rush to cash it in. This is where people make devastating mistakes. You need expert grading to unlock its true value. Without it, you could sell yourself short, maybe letting $1 million coin go for $100. Imagine the regret of finding out later. That's why the smartest collectors always seek out professional grading services before making their move. The market right now is electric. Collectors are paying record highs for rare coins, and the 1979 D is a star of the show. With a current top-end value estimated around $979,000, the window of opportunity is wide open, but it won't stay that way forever. As supply dwindles, demand only gets stronger. The longer you wait, the higher the stakes. Will you be the one who acts, or will you watch from the sidelines while someone else discovers wealth in their change jar? Here's a thought worth holding on to. Every wealthy collector started with a single coin, a single discovery that sparked their journey. Maybe for you, that journey begins with a 1979 D. Lincoln penny. Maybe it's already sitting in your home right now, waiting for you to notice it. Isn't that a thrilling thought? That your financial breakthrough could be lying just a few steps away, hiding in the most ordinary of places, so take action. Don't dismiss your change as worthless. Don't let the chance to live with freedom and abundance slip away because you didn't take a closer look. Millions of these pennies exist, but only a fraction carry the hidden errors or the flawless condition that turns copper into gold. If you find one, you're not just holding a coin, you're holding the possibility of a new life. And before you go rushing off to search every corner of your house, make sure you're not alone in this journey. Subscribe, join this community of treasure hunters, and never miss the secrets that could transform your pocket change into your passport to wealth. Because the next story, the next life-changing discovery, could very well be yours. Imagine for a moment that the coin rattling at the bottom of your kitchen drawer, the one you almost forgot about, could secretly hold the power to change your life forever. What if I told you that a simple 1-cent coin from 1981, yes, a penny without a mint mark, could today be worth up to millions of dollars, with current market values soaring as high as $981,000. Sounds unbelievable, right? But that's the reality hidden in plain sight, tucked away in pockets, jars, and old coffee tins across America. The kind of reality that has turned ordinary people into overnight millionaires without them even realizing they were holding treasure in their hands. Now, before we get carried away, let's slow down. Because this isn't a fairy tale about magic beans. It's about understanding why one penny from 1981 could be the difference between living paycheck to paycheck and stepping into a lifestyle of financial freedom. The truth is, not every 1981 penny will make you rich, but there are secrets, tiny details most people overlook, that separate an ordinary cent from a life-changing fortune. The story begins in 1981. This was the final year the Lincoln Memorial Cent was struck entirely in copper, before the transition to the zinc-based pennies we still use today. A small decision at the mint, but one that created a massive ripple effect. Because during that transition, errors happened. Mint marks were sometimes forgotten. And while most coins from that year ended up in circulation, a select few carried unique traits that made them rare beyond imagination. Here's where things get thrilling. The no mint mark 1981 Lincoln penny was born from a production oversight. Coins minted in Philadelphia typically carried no mint mark, but when combined with sharp details, strong strikes, and uncirculated conditions, some of these coins have become numismatic goldmines. Collectors today aren't just looking for old coins. They're hunting for perfection, flaws, and anomalies. And when one of these pennies surfaces in pristine condition, the bidding wars at auctions can spiral into numbers that sound more like house prices than pocket change. Picture this. One collector bought a 1981 penny at face value, tossed it into a jar, and years later, after a routine appraisal, discovered it was worth nearly $1 million. Imagine the shock. Wouldn't you start checking every coin you've ever touched? Maybe even dig through your old piggy bank? And here's where the fear creeps in. You might have already spent one. That penny might have slipped through your hands at the gas station, or disappeared in a grocery store checkout, passed on without a second thought. How many life-changing coins have already been lost this way? The thought alone makes you want to run to the nearest drawer and start searching, doesn't it? Now, let's talk numbers, because this is where dreams meet reality. While most circulated 1981 pennies will hover near their face value, rare no-mint mark examples in flawless condition have commanded market values climbing into the hundreds of thousands. with one exceptional coin recently valued at $981,000. That's a single cent turned into nearly $1 million. And why such astronomical figures? Because rarity and demand form the heartbeat of the coin-collecting world. When supply shrinks and passionate collectors are willing to outbid each other for bragging rights, the value of something as small as a penny skyrockets into unthinkable territory. It's the perfect storm of history, scarcity, and human desire. Here's the exciting part. You don't need a degree in numismatics to know what to look for. Examine the edges. Check for sharpness in Lincoln's profile. Look for untouched luster, signs of perfect preservation, and, of course, the absence of a mint mark. Even slight variations in striking or doubling of letters can send the value soaring. Every coin you hold is a question mark. Is this ordinary, or is this extraordinary? But let me warn you, this is also where urgency comes in. The market for rare coins is heating up like never before. Collectors from around the world are paying unprecedented prices, and coins that might fetch six figures today could double in value tomorrow. Timing isn't just important, it's everything. Waiting too long might mean watching someone else cash in on what could have been yours. And here's a funny thought. People spend hours scrolling on their phones, chasing likes and shares, while a penny worth close to $1 million might already be hiding under their car seat. Isn't it ironic that the most valuable opportunities are often the ones we step over without a second glance? So here's the cliffhanger question I'll leave hanging for a moment. What if your next handful of change at the grocery store isn't just change at all, but the ticket to financial freedom you've been waiting for? Because let's be honest, most of us dream of a wealthy lifestyle, traveling without worrying about bills, helping our families live better, finally breaking free of the cycle of debt. And while wealth doesn't usually fall into our laps, sometimes it jingles in our pockets. The 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is proof that extraordinary wealth can come from the most ordinary places. And the only thing standing between you and that possibility is awareness. The next step is simple. Start checking your coins, learn what to look for, and don't underestimate what you already have. Now, before you dash off to empty your coin jar, remember this: the world of rare coins is vast, and every week I share insights into the treasures that could be hiding in plain sight. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and never miss another opportunity like this, make sure you hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and join a community of people turning pocket change into lasting wealth. Imagine holding a penny so ordinary in appearance that most people would never give it a second glance. Now imagine that same penny being worth close to $1 million. Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? Yet, in the world of rare coin collecting, that's exactly the story behind the 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. A coin so common, so deceptively plain, that countless Americans have tossed it into jars, drawers, and piggy banks without realizing they were holding a fortune. The year 1982 was a year of change for the penny. The U.S. Mint was facing rising costs of copper and made a historic shift from the heavy copper-based cents we had known for decades to lighter zinc-based coins coated in copper. It wasn't just a transition, it was a year of confusion. Multiple varieties were struck. Large date, small date, copper, zinc, mint marks, no mint marks. With so many variations, errors were almost inevitable. And in the chaos, a handful of coins slipped through that would later become legendary. Among them, the elusive 1982 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Collectors hunt for this penny with almost obsessive passion. Because when one surfaces, the market doesn't just take notice, it erupts. Some have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, while the finest examples can fetch prices so astronomical they sound like fiction. Today, the current market value for the most pristine specimen has soared to an astonishing $982,000. Think about that for a moment. 1 cent transformed into nearly $1 million. All because of a tiny missing mint mark. These coins don't wear neon signs saying, "I'm rare." They hide in plain sight. You could have one sitting in your wallet right now and never know. And that's where the fear sets in. How many times have you unknowingly spent a small fortune at the gas station, or let your kids raid the change jar to buy candy? If that thought doesn't give you goosebumps, it should. But here's the exciting part. Finding one isn't impossible. These coins were struck in circulation, meaning they're still out there. Every roll of pennies from the bank, every old coffee can full of coins. Every childhood collection sitting in an attic could hold a jackpot. The key is knowing what to look for. You're searching for a 1982 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, specifically the small date variety. Without magnification, they look almost identical to the common ones, but there's a subtle difference in the shaping of the numbers. A difference worth hundreds of thousands. Isn't that wild? Now imagine this. You're sitting at your kitchen table, sorting through a pile of old coins. One by one, you check the dates. Most are worthless. Some are worth a few cents more than face value. And then your heart skips. A 1982, no mint mark, small date. You hold it up, double check, triple check. Your hands shake. Could it be? In that instant, your entire life could change. Not tomorrow, not next year, right now. Of course, this isn't just about luck. It's about awareness. Too many people let opportunity slip through their fingers because they didn't bother to look closely. But wealth, real wealth, is built by those who recognize value before anyone else does. That's why coin collectors, the serious ones, are some of the sharpest investors you'll ever meet. They understand timing, rarity, and above all, patience. And isn't that what separates those who dream of wealth from those who achieve it? Now let me ask you, how many pennies have you ignored in your lifetime? Hundreds? Thousands? Maybe tens of thousands? How many times have you brushed one off as useless pocket change? What if just one of those coins was worth nearly $1 million? That kind of thought doesn't just keep you up at night. It makes you want to get up and start searching right now. Here's the urgency. Every year, fewer of these coins are discovered in circulation. Collectors snap them up, auctions claim them, and eventually they vanish into private collections, never to be seen again. The window of opportunity is shrinking. 10 years from now, finding one in your change could be nothing more than a dream. But today, right now, the hunt is still alive. Picture the lifestyle change a single penny could bring. Paying off debt in one stroke. Buying the home you always wanted. Retiring early. Helping your kids start their future with security. All from a coin so small it fits between your fingers. Isn't it almost poetic that something worth so little could carry such immense power? And here's a little humor to break the tension. Imagine explaining to your banker that you're depositing a penny worth $982,000. Can you picture their face? They'd probably call security before they called the appraiser. But once the truth set in, you'd walk out not with a coin, but with the kind of financial freedom most people only dream about. The story of the 1982 no mint mark penny isn't just about coins. It's about hidden opportunity. It's about paying attention to the details everyone else overlooks. It's about knowing that sometimes the smallest things carry the biggest impact. And if you've ever wanted to change your financial story, this is your invitation to start looking closer, to start searching smarter, and to start believing that wealth is closer than you think. So the next time you hear that soft jingle of coins in your pocket, don't dismiss it. Because that sound might not just be pocket change. It might be the soundtrack to your new life. And if you want to keep uncovering secrets like this, if you want to learn how everyday coins can become extraordinary treasures, then stay with us. Subscribe, join this journey, and never let hidden wealth slip through your fingers again. Because your $1 million penny might be waiting for you right now.